Que paso, amigos? We are returning once more for Enfuegotainment. I'm Jaime Fuego.
I'm Cecil Laird.
And we're so stoked that you've joined us today for another review from a bit of cinema that I like to call the hottest entertainment with an edge. And we are going into Disney territory today, my friend. We've got Tomorrowland coming at you guys.
Newton?
That's not mine.
What's not yours?
The pen. I've never...
What if there was a place?
Dad, I just need you to look at this. Does it look weird?
A secret place where nothing was impossible.
You're not saying this?
Casey, stop it!
Yeah, Tomorrowland was a big surprise for me, Jaime. How about you?
You know, I went in with tempered expectations, but not really knowing too much about the plot, what was going on. I mean, obviously we know it's based on a Disney ride, and that was at least where the inception of
the section of Disney, not just the ride, because there's Space Mountain, there's a bunch of different things within Tomorrowland.
Oh, really now?
Yeah.
Shows how much I've been to Disneyland.
Because there's Tomorrowland, there's like Old Westland, there's Toontown. Like, Disney is separated into these separate sections.
Oh yeah.
So Tomorrowland is the one where they have all the futuristic stuff, which again, since it was built in like the 60s or whenever, the futuristic stuff throughout the 80s and 90s when I was a kid and when you eventually became a kid, because I'm a little bit older than Jaime.
Just a wee bit.
Just a little bit. But the futuristic stuff then is like, it's not so futuristic anymore.
Truthful. I mean, look at what they anticipated the future to be in the 80s and all those awesome sci-fi films we loved so much.
Well, I mean, we are currently in the year where we're supposed to have flying
2015,
cars,
man. Yeah,
and Jaws 17, we're supposed to have all this stuff.
Hey, McFly, you bojo! The cars don't work on water! Unless you've got power!
Damn it, I wanted that hoverboard, man. Where's it at, guys? Seriously.
But getting back to the matter at hand, the movie was, I'll just say to start out, I loved it.
I loved it too, and I think to go with a point that you just touched upon just now, it's one of the first things George Clooney utters at the beginning of the film. When I was a kid, the future was a lot different.
Yeah.
And that was a line that really resounded with me because, it basically starts out to give some backstory. It starts out in 1964 at the World's Fair, and we have this young kid named Frank who encounters a British girl who seems rather peculiar without giving away, too much.
But cute.
Yes,
and he's
exactly.
into her,
Yeah, very cute, and she really... She pops up quite a bit in the film and really, really impressed me.
She kind of steals the show whenever she shows up, absolutely.
Yeah, just to note her name, Raffi Cassidy, and she really, in many ways, upstaged the more esteemed actors in this film.
Sometimes she tended to, I mean, they gave her probably the most interesting role in the movie. So she had that to work with as a big hunk of meat to chew on throughout a film. So good for her, but she for such a young girl, she rocked it.
She did.
She was phenomenal.
Yeah. Indeed. And so she encounters this boy Frank, and he's obviously a wonder kid. He's got a jetpack that he's put together. He's only 11 years old, and despite his father's naysaying, which is actually a constant thread throughout this film, is people kind of giving you adversity by not believing in you and by just being negative in general. Yeah, that's I guess kind of the real villain in the film is negativity. Is negativity in general.
Pessimism, negativity. Yeah, the fact that he was overly positive and he would never give up is actually what made him stand out.
Yeah, exactly right.
So
that's where they saw something special in this kid.
He eventually makes it to this world that he had no idea about, that all of us have no idea about.
Beautiful, futuristic. It's like what we all envision the future to be, or Jules Verne's.
Yeah. It's there's a hover rail, which is one of the coolest things I saw. It's the monorail without a track.
Yeah.
So
roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. We don't need tracks either, man. We'll jump right into the Bueno then, because we like to do the Bueno, the Malo, and the Feo here. The good, the bad, and the ugly, but with the Fuego twist.
Might be tough to find some Feo this time, but some Malo rather.
Yeah.
But the first thing I want to remark on that is muy bueno is the production design.
Oh yeah.
The production design in this movie was phenomenal, and it kind of worked hand in hand with the cinematography. If you want to try and put them together, you can. but the design of Tomorrowland, the design of the various sets in the movie.
Brad Bird, props to you for an incredible looking film.
Another amazing movie. Brad Bird is, when I saw that it was directed by him at the end of the movie, I for whatever reason I didn't pay attention to it at the beginning, or they didn't show it at the beginning. One way or the other, I didn't take note of it at the beginning, but by the end I was like, oh, that's totally a Brad Bird movie.
Yeah, a guy with a background in animation, but he's transferred very well to the live action medium because he brings that just very defined visual touch to what he's doing.
And when you combine the production design with the fact that it's a Disney movie, it's like the pinnacle of bright and shiny and wonderment. I mentioned as we
were
reviewing,
transported there.
We really were, and I was. Our main character, the blonde girl who I love, I think she's
Casey,
actually from The Secret Circle on WB. It was a witch show that lasted like one season.
Her name is Britt Robertson, I believe.
Yeah, she was a really excellent actress. She was supposed to be, our audience window into the movie, like we're supposed to think that we're her kind of thing.
Yep.
She did an excellent job, but when she's walking around Tomorrowland the first time that she gets there with the pin, which isn't a spoiler because that's in the trailer. You see that she makes her way there. But when she's looking around and watching everything and just seeing the way Tomorrowland is set up, you're watching and looking, your eyes are darting all over the screen, you don't know where to look because everything is so amazing.
You're filled with the same wonderment as
Absolutely.
her. You make that connection, hook, line, and sinker, man.
Brad Bird, I mean, he did Iron Giant as well, right?
Yep, Iron Giant.
Iron Giant, one of my favorites.
Ratatouille.
Incredibles is phenomenal, but the emotional points that he hit in Iron Giant, like there was a couple of emotional things in this one that he hit that was similar, but yeah, just the wonderment. That I can't talk about it enough.
Yeah,
I won't gush too much. I'll try not to gush too much.
But there's
it's
a reason
amazing.
to, because it was that just visually impressive, and as we said, made that connection thoroughly.
So what's a good bueno for you, sir?
The bueno for me was the performances, especially George Clooney. While his part wasn't as large as I was expecting, his character, I really identified a lot with his character. Not that Casey, the daughter of the NASA guy, was less of a I guess relatable person for me, but he's a character filled with some cynicism, and without giving away too much about what drives him, he's kind of bewildered a little bit. He's kind of bought into some of this pessimism, almost become a victim of it, as so many others in the film.
Well, and because he starts out as a
wide-eyed dreamer, just like her,
and things have been beaten down, and so
he's
it's
older, and
but that's what's so awesome, when she shows up at his doorstep. And she mentions the name of the girl that recruited him.
Athena,
it clicks, and he, that's actually, I won't go into too much, but it's really a funny sort of setup how they sort of, how she gets in the house and things like that. And
how they get acquainted.
How they get acquainted. That's a good way to put it. Yeah. But that, speaking to your point, that was. Really, they played so well off each other.
And characters without chemistry would not have made these scenes work the way that
no, because it's really just them, and sometimes Athena shows up as well. So they have to have good, like you said, good chemistry in order to keep you engaged in the movie. Brad Bird and the writers of this movie brought wonderment to our world.
Yeah, and this is actually a good time for me to kind of segue into some of the only model that I can think of.
Okay.
It's that. A little bit of the conflict within the film, as far as like some of the action sequences go. Brad Bird did Mission Impossible. I think Ghost Protocol. I think was the one that he did most recently. I think that was his first live action film, and some of the action within this film, it felt a little more violent maybe than I was expecting.
For a Disney movie,
it just didn't fit the tone that the rest of the movie did. When there were those segues into the action, while good, and it was just a little darker, maybe than I thought necessary, because the rest of the film was lighthearted, even in the face of dire circumstances. I guess
I'd agree with you that it's jarring, right?
Yeah.
It's jarring because you're watching something, and even though it's a cool little action set piece, some of the things that happen, it's like, oh Jesus, wow, that's
kind
aggressive.
Of a jolt. But then again, since the movie jolted us visually in other aspects, I guess I'm not.
But it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't. Okay, here's the thing. It surprises you, but it doesn't. it takes you out of the movie for a split second, only in that you're like, that's heavier than I thought.
Yeah.
But then something else kicks in, which again we won't ruin, but something else kicks in and you're like, oh, but okay, moving on.
It's kind of a reassurance.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's weird for maybe a moment or two, but ultimately, I was all in. Even the Malo turned into a Bueno.
Because it was a great
There's a lot.
film,
There's little to find that's Malo about it. And one of the only thing that I would say is possibly the pacing.
No.
Could have been sped up a little bit. It takes you a little while to get.
Yeah.
It takes you a while to get to George Clooney, and then it takes you a while to get to what they're trying to do and stuff like that.
But sometimes it's about the journey and not the destination.
and at least the journey, the title, the destination is the title. But the journey was interesting. The journey was definitely interesting. It's just I wanted to get to the destination so bad that I was like, oh, okay, fine, I'll wait. And then as I'm waiting, there's a cool set piece, and so I'm like, oh no, I'm totally fine with waiting.
Yeah.
So that's the only Malo. Now, what about the Feo for you?
Just kind of the pessimism that they present within the film, but it hits pretty close to home.
It does. It does.
It kind of asks a lot of questions within the film of how we have to be masters of our own destiny because there is a lot of negativity in this world. There's a lot of bad stuff going down.
Well, and one of the things that you mentioned that you had heard about it is that it was possibly a little preachy.
And maybe that would be Malo or Feo. That could go both ways. And it does really hit you over the head with the message.
It does towards the end. Yeah. It clobbers you pretty good. But
it's
at the same time, it's a good message.
It's an important one. It's basic, but
and it's something that Disney is setting out. You know what? The whole movie is a veiled message, but at the very least, they're doing it in a uber entertaining way. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like,
sometimes
if you're going to throw a message in a movie, throw it in Tomorrowland because I'm having a good time.
And to quote another Disney movie, sometimes it's a spoonful of sugar that helps the medicine go down.
There you go. You know what? Absolutely. 100%. You know what? Kudos to you, sir.
If we're being entertained and then if you're being entertained but you're thinking at the same time, a lot of this mindless summer cinema, that's all that it does. It's just bright, flashy visuals without much substance. Even if the message is kind of a cliche, it's still an important one.
Absolutely. And again, I like this movie so much. There was very little Malo and very little Feo, but if I had to pick a Feo, I would say it kind of ties into what you were saying. The aggressive moments would be considered pretty Feo to some people.
Oh yeah.
So it piggybacks on your Malo,
especially for a PG movie.
For a PG movie, you might have some splaining to do to some of your little ones.
Mr. Brad Bird, this is not Ratatouille or The Incredibles, man.
No, you might have some splaining to do.
It's a little more Mission Impossible. And for guys like us, it's pretty rad.
It was awesome.
But for
it was
a family
great for
film,
us.
it's like, it's a little Feo, it's a little ugly.
Yeah, a little ugly. So I mean, but again, if that's my biggest complaint, I mean that's not a big complaint at all.
Not
you guys,
a chance,
go see Tomorrowland.
It's rad.
Your inner child is just at the surface the whole movie. Just like you're just like.
Yeah.
I felt like if I could have sat on the theater floor and crossed my legs and watched like this, I would have. I totally would have.
Yeah, and that's what a good family film does, right? It enthralls and entertains children, and then at the same time makes adults feel like children.
Makes adults at the very least entertained. If you're really good at your job, you make them forget that they're adults.
Yeah, which is what this film succeeded in doing.
Absolutely.
So, hands down, props to Brad Bird, props to Disney for, lots of people hate on Disney, I think, and
I don't get it.
I think it's unfair because what they really do is give the best tools to the most brilliant minds.
Absolutely.
It'll make you laugh, it'll make you think, and just most importantly, it'll make you feel. And so,
absolutely. Yeah. That's what movies are supposed to do, you guys.
Yes, the power of cinema, and that's what we're both fans of. So, we want to extend a grande gracias to Brad Bird, his entire awesome cast he put together, Clooney. And,
so good together.
Yeah, the guy from House was in there too, which is
Hugh Laurie. I love Hugh Laurie.
He did a good
amazing.
job. Yeah, always great. Britt Robertson. It was a great film, tremendous work, and we urge all of you viewers here on Enfuegotainment to see it.
Absolutely.
I once again have been Jaime Enfuego. You can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all those social media sectors, and more importantly, our project together, the horror show, which we urge all of you guys to check out. I'll let this gentleman disperse that info.
Absolutely. Keep in mind, I am Cecil Laird. We've been doing the horror show for a while now, which is our other project. Go check it out at thehorrorshowchannel.com.
Please
It's a horror variety show, free on YouTube, free podcasts. Check it out. It's a lot of fun, but we focus only on horror stuff, so I appreciate you bringing me
Yeah.
over to talk about some of this other stuff that I would be seeing anyway,
This
but
is
have
our
no
outlet, man.
for it.
Yeah.
Exactly,
Damn
exactly.
right, damn right.
Simpatico.
Say. So once more, thanks so very much, guys. It has been a pleasure talking entertainment with all of you, and connect with us on all those social media sectors. Let's do more of it. And until next time, I extend that gracias once more. I'll see y'all soon. Adios.
Take care.
Off to Tomorrowland. Woo!
Woo!